On a chilly Tuesday morning, towards the end of July, the last month of Malawi's version of winter, scientists from various fields, from students to professors, converged at Nalipiri Eco Resort in Mulanje for the first day of a 3-day conference on biodiversity. Located at the home of one of Africa's best attractions, Mulanje Mountain, Nalipiri Eco Resort offered a venue well in line with the theme of the conference. With science at the heart of the conference, the event promised to offer solutions to various problems in the ordinary world. That is, a world that leaves oblivious to complexities of science and the answers it holds.
There are lots of things that we're learning every day, lots of research that's happening every day, lots of discoveries are being made every single day.
What we're looking at is to ensure that our farmers are helped through science, technology, and business incubation and commercialization streams that we have, is to ensure that our farmers can diversify. Not only diversifying into other value chains, but they should also increase their productivity.
Science is like a tool that will unlock the vision that we have. Our vision is to be an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant nation. How we get there? We need science. Matter of fact, there are a number of enablers for us to attain that. So one of the key aspects, there is science, technology, and innovation.
The event would see professionals in 3 key fields: water resource management, natural products and health, and machine learning for biodiversity, through boundless presentations and demonstrations, share notes, and seek input on subjects at various stages of research.
I've always been mindful. I've seen it a lot more times because I was provide oversight in terms of. And I just want to remind everybody of what happened in 1991.
But how did the conference come to be, and why the focus on biodiversity? The University of Pretoria's Future Africa ran the Early Career Research Leader Fellowship Program, or ECRLF, with the intention of offering opportunities for the development of research leaders.
Natural product in Africa has been there, and several reports has mentioned the importance of biodiversity hotspot, of the large set of forests and trees and animals that we have in our landscape. But what do we see? The multinational will patent those, those products and sell it back to Africa at a very high price. We have seen all the pharmaceutical product we're using here are mostly based on plant product. So if we don't do our own breeding, our own domestication, and extract the product that can address food, health, and many areas of human well-being, then Africa will lose an opportunity, which is the opportunity related to natural resources.
There are about 5 core themes and focus areas that these workshops and the program try to address. And very broadly, these were capacity development. So how do we support the fellowships and the program to develop their own capacities, not only as researchers, but also as employees and staff members in their own organizations, to improve their capacities. We also wanted to look at research skills development. So how do we improve the abilities of the fellows and even their colleagues that are indirectly involved towards writing articles, conducting reviews, writing book chapters, other publications, and journal publications. Communication skills was actually also an item that we wanted to address. You know, being in the academia doesn't mean you're only dealing with academics, such as yourself. I mean, you deal with media, you deal with government, you deal with communities and public and private sectors.
Fellows in the program, Dr. Emmanuel Velemu from the Malawi University of Science and Technology, MUST, and Dr. Kumbukani Nyirenda from the Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, KUHES, spearheaded the conference in Malawi.
Myself, and likely there was someone also, my colleague from COM, College of Medicine, but now it's Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, Dr. Kumbukani Nyirenda. But we met now in Pretoria when we noticed that, oh, we're selected. So I was happy that to see that there were two people, two fellows from Malawi, so this was really exciting. So at the end of the program, after we did all the research and the work activities that we had planned in our fellowship, the University of Pretoria decided that we should hold a conference or a workshop or a seminar, anything what we wanted as early career researchers. And I sat down with Dr. Nyirenda, and we decided I think we should do a conference. But the idea was to promote our research, you know, to a wider community, to bring awareness, you know, of what we did in Pretoria, and also to allow collaborations and networking of our research. And that what we decided was, okay, let's do this with our home institutions. For me, which is a Malawi University of Science and Technology, and him, the Kamuzu University of Health Sciences.
The first of the 3 days focused on water resource management. But before the presentations went rolling, the Director of National Planning Commission, Dr. Thomas Muntali, gave context to the theme of the conference.
Matter of fact, there are a number of enablers for us to attend that. So one of the key aspects, there is science, technology, and innovation. And for modern economies, for you to move, like now that we are targeting to become a middle-income economy by 2030, you need to advance in science, technology, and innovation. And therefore, you cannot really move progressively and catch up with the rest of the countries if you are lagging behind in science. That's why when you meet minds like they are gathered here, from MUST to KUHES and MOBAS, you can only say thanks. Can we then begin to talk practicalities of how we can use science, not in theoretical terms, but in how it can effectively advance the inclusive wealth and the self-reliance agenda.
In his remarks at the start of the conference, the then acting Vice-Chancellor of KUHES, Professor Macpherson Malewa, made reference to the second theme of the conference, natural products and health.
We can keep up in one or two ways, and relevant to the workshop today is that we need to think about what do we have locally that can actually improve the lives of Malawians in terms of healthcare provision, in terms of providing drugs or remedies for various conditions that we see. So instead of waiting and hoping that somebody's going to find the solutions to the problems that we have, find treatments for the things that we have, we need to do our own investment, invest in our own scientists that can come up with answers. So keeping up means being able to respond immediately. You cannot respond immediately if you're relying on other people to find solutions for you. So Malawi has to find health solutions for its brothers and sisters rather than waiting for other people. Because if you do wait for other people, there are lots of other things that go into all that: politics, finances. So that's how we can keep up with the changing environment in the healthcare system.
The main objective of this study was to assess the river health condition.
If you convince the Minister of Finance that whatever we're researching eventually is going to help this country.
At zero, this is when you have a completely seasonal river.
Then began the presentations falling under the theme Water Resource Management. Students and mentors alike brought forth various research topics and findings and succumbed to questions and suggestions from the audience. A good day as far as first days go. Day 2, under the theme Natural Products and Health, brought forth an expansive range of options, both explored and unexplored, that the natural world has to offer. One of the presenters was Professor Fanuel Lampiao from Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, or KUHES. He presented on his study of herbs and male reproductive health.
So this research mainly is one to ascertain that these herbal medicines that have been used by the general public, they are efficacious, and also to find out if there are any other toxicity in these herbs, so that we can give proper advice with evidence that this plant is toxic, don't take it, or you can take it this amount, don't overdo, and things like those.
Then in came a representative of the international development sector, Mr. McLeod Nkoma, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Agricultural Transformation, CAT, tackled the importance of the agricultural sector in development in line with Malawi2063.
So agriculture is indeed extremely important for our economy to transform, but there are things we need to focus on. This industry employs about 80% of our population. So you can imagine the sort of effect it can have if it's transformed and diversified. So at the CAT, or at the Center for Agricultural Transformation, what we're looking at is to ensure that our farmers are helped through science, technology, and business incubation and commercialization streams that we have, is to ensure that our farmers can diversify.
But true to the nature of researchers, an escape from the indoors was called for at some point. Towards the end of the second day, most students went a short distance to a river to study the quality of the water there. It was an abbreviated presentation of what they do on a regular basis in the study of water resource management.
We're here to assess the river health condition. As we can see, the different activities that are happening which can affect the quality of the water. So we are here to assess if the human impacts are affecting the living organisms and the quality of the water overall. So we're here to assess that. Okay, so the process is called biomonitoring, and we use living organisms to explain the response of the microinvertebrates to the changes in the environment, like to pollution, degradation in the quality. So these organisms have got different sensitivity. They have to respond whenever there is a change in the environment. So we're collecting the organisms. We have 3 biotopes. We have the gravel, sandy, and mud as one biotope, and then we have the stony, and the last one is the vegetation. So we collect the microinvertebrates from these biotopes, and we identify them, and we find out what the sensitivity score is. Like, how do they respond? Are they so sensitive to pollution, or they can tolerate pollution? So we are collecting them and identifying them, and then we calculate the overall score to establish the liver health condition.
And there went another day. The third day, focusing on machine learning for biodiversity, was true to form, a tad technical, but all for the same goal, to enhance biodiversity in Malawi. Now, every good student's driver for hard work is the promise of a good reward in the form of prizes, good grades, or indeed just recognition. And all the hard work did pay for some of the students who presented work at the conference. And thus, the joint research dissemination Biodiversity for Malawi 2063 conference in Mulanje saw its conclusion.
We have achieved the objectives. As you have seen, MAST and all our collaborators, MOBAS and COHES, we have made some presentations, and these are the findings in 3 major themes. We had the first theme of water quality management, and the second theme of herbal drug development, and another one on machine learning and artificial intelligence. You can see that these are the areas that are becoming more and more important for our nation, and that's why we have termed this dissemination conference with a major theme of biodiversity for Malawi 2063. We know that these 3 areas are also critical to the contribution of our Malawi 2063 achievement.
Back to base, the show goes on. Lessons continue to be taught, new questions discovered, and fresh opportunities for further research continue to be born. Dr. Kumbukani Nyirenda, whose specialty is natural products and health, acknowledges the existence of some challenges.
We did it quite well. In fact, because it was a twin site study, so we had some of the experiments conducted here, and we determined a few parameters in this country, and then we also went ahead in South Africa, where we did quite a number of experiments, which have narrated the results area on. But in terms of the way forward, I think our research was largely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, because there are certain experiments which we had planned to do, which we have not, due to that kind of disturbance that we had earlier on. In the future, probably there are certain things that this program could change. For example, looking at the effect of COVID-19 and the restrictions that come with that kind of program, we could probably have some kind of seed money that could be utilized in the home countries. Because as of now, the research money was based in South Africa, but looking at the travel restrictions that we have, probably we should change the model of funding to the extent that the home countries probably should have a little more in terms of the budget, so that fellows could be able to undertake research in their home countries. As a way forward, especially for my research, I would feel that there is, looking at the activities or the importance of the plant, we have that data. But what the data that we don't have probably has something to do with toxicity. So if we were to have the toxicological data that would involve animal models, then we could implement or complement that data that we earlier on carried out.
So is there hope for continuance of this event?
I would like to see any collaboration or event like this going forward, and currently to not have and I hope this term is sensical, but it's almost like a siloist, superiority complex, ivory tower type of mentality that can easily occur, within a university or any other institute that is highly specialized. Our social responsibility is ultimately towards our communities, and I want that to continue going forward. What I also would like to see continuing going forward is what Emmanuel and Kumbukani also have been doing, and some of the other fellows, is to continue with the communication and engagement with us, sharing news and information and updates, so that we keep informed as to what they are doing, that we could also promote awareness on our platforms. And then if we have then follow-up events, which we are planning, we can continue engagement with them. So then the whole, in summary, is not to be in silos or to break down silos, but also to have a long-term sustainability plan in place.
One of the key objectives of the Joint Research Dissemination Biodiversity for Malawi 2063 conference was to enhance collaboration among researchers, academia, government and industry in order to create sustainable research programs in synergy with other health and water development sectors. Coming ahead of the COP26 Global Climate Change Conference, the Carnegie Corporation funded event sure was a good way to kickstart engagement that can prove useful for future generations.